There's just been, over the past 40 years, an incredible, insatiable thirst for Star Trek. And I think with each successive show, from Star Trek The Next Generation to Deep Space Nine to Voyager to Enterprise, there was just always great anticipation. You know, each time we launched the shows, we delivered. Rick Berman delivered. Rick Berman and his co-writers and co-producers and talent behind the scenes delivered.
Star Trek's been around for 40 years. And during that 40 years, it's become part of the American mythos, part of the American nomenclature.
A lot of TV shows are lucky to go past 1 year, you know, and here we are on a show that it's in its fifth, you know, has had 5 incarnations of different Trek casts. It's truly amazing that even after 40 years, it's still that popular.
There are no programs that have been on for 40 years. And not only is that a long time, but as I said before, it's a thing that one generation shares with another generation. And there is no TV program like that.
Well, we are the sum of everything that has gone before, after all.
We have 10 movies and over 700 hours of television that they're all showing somewhere on any given day or week.
Around mid-90s, Star Trek was just insanely popular. And Kirk and Picard were on the cover of Time magazine, and there was a movie coming out of Next Generation, and Voyager was premiering, and Deep Space Nine was on the air. It was just huge. It was great to be there, to be part of the ascension of the reascension of the franchise.
A hell of a trek. How wonderful. 40 years.
Who'd have thunk it? Certainly not yours truly.
The odds against you and I both being killed are 2,228.7 to 1.
2,228.7 to 1? Those are pretty good odds, Mr. Spock.
And they are, of course, accurate, Captain.
Of course.
Since there's been commerce, there have been auctions. From the most intrepid of bidders looking to add to their vast collections, to the nostalgic hopefuls just trying to get their hands on a fond memory, auctions have been the platform of choice. The one commonality they all share is a desire to own a piece of what they consider near and dear to them. For some, it can be for investment. For others, an object which delivers a dream realized from days past. Either way, collecting is in our blood. It's a part of our culture. And this auction is no exception.
Sold to my bidder of $5,500.
Sold at $1,400.
Lots of interest in this.
Sold for $4,800.
Sold.
Christie's, I think, well, for this particular type of business, we are unique. We think it's fantastic for our profile. It brings in a lot of new buyers. It's a tremendous opportunity for PR. And it gives us a different dimension. And people come to us because I think, you know, we've done very successfully with these types of sales before.
But given that, just the massive opportunity that was presented by Paramount of saying, you know, look at all of this and this amazing amount of property that had been so carefully kept for decades, and then to understand that you could, you know, conceivably propose to them selecting some items from that and selling it to a community that maybe is even much more broad than what they consider the cult following of Star Trek. It's pretty great.
But why now, Mr. Spock?
I don't know.
And I think on the occasion of the 40th anniversary, it was looked at and thought, what better way to give back to the fans who are constantly wanting connectivity with this franchise was to actually own the physical pieces that they'd seen on camera is unprecedented and something that seemed very appropriate to do.
This day was inevitable. We all know it. And we've all tried to prepare ourselves for the challenge ahead.
Right after Christmas, we were awarded the contract, much to my shock and amazement and joy, and then to my horror and terror, because suddenly I knew we were in deep.
There was warehouse after warehouse of costumes, props, set pieces.
So we were a little bit shell-shocked, to say the least, thinking what have we got ourselves into.
I think it was pretty astounding once you actually saw the scope, the size.
Well, once we got the deal, then all of a sudden we looked around the room and thought, we don't really know anything about Star Trek. So that was sort of the next panic. And Paramount then introduced us to Mike and Denise Ikuda, which was like a gift from the heavens.
Yeah, put it this way, anybody that can write the Star Trek Encyclopedia certainly is equipped to be able to help Christie's put together an auction.
I mean, usually we have our own expertise in-house, which we can call on, but this is such a specialist area, and we needed somebody, or both of them, to really help us with the detail and the knowledge that they've got. They are a tremendous asset, but it's unusual to work so closely with external consultants in that way.
Captain's log, stardate 2713.5. In the distant reaches of our galaxy, we have made an astonishing discovery. It seems impossible, but there it is. Any guesses, Mr. Spock? Any idea what happened down there?
I wish I could say, Captain. Circumstances were quite bizarre. However, our record tapes may show us something.
This is the Reliant from Star Trek II. This is the ship that Khan hijacked in his attempt to get revenge on Captain Kirk. It's been remarked and redone for any number of ships. So it's labeled as the Saratoga now.
This is all wardrobe, and we have to say it was so wonderfully organized. It's rows and rows and rows. It starts with Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, Star Trek: The Motion Picture. I mean, you look at those things, they were made back in 1978. They were used. It goes on and on and on.
We're trying to figure out what a collector might find interesting, what a film museum might find interesting, what's interesting because it's beautifully constructed, what's interesting because it was important in an important episode, and what's just fun.
Hi, Andy Foster. How are you? Hi, Denise. How you doing? Hi, Mike. Andy Foster. Hi.
I started with Star Trek: The Next Generation, and I went through and pulled each cast member's Starfleet uniform. This is Captain Picard, Patrick Stewart, and picked what I thought to be the primo one. On and on and on. And then there was an episode called Q-Kid that a lot of fun costumes, Robin Hood type costumes. I pulled that. This is that collection. But what we did do to make sure, because it's very important that whoever will be purchasing these items has an authentic item, we would also not take this tag as gospel. You're checking. Yes, sir. We are checking. We are going through. We are looking at tags and making sure that this is the article. There.
Yeah. Was there anything on it?
No.
Symbol-wise?
No. I actually don't think this is it. I don't think this is. No, this is Finnegan's. This is not the same. This is not the same. Definitely.
Can you put one on? Yeah. Oh, and you've got a handlebar in here, so, you have we're just trying to understand how we work this out for the client so that it's an easy experience, so that it's satisfying, so that it does credit to Star Trek, and so that it sits within, the experience that Christie's wants to offer, which is the best possible auction experience you can create.
One of the best episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation is something called The Inner Light. And Picard gets zapped by this alien ray, and in a heartbeat, he lives the memories of a man who had lived on a dead planet, who died 1,000 years ago. And in that life, he raises a family, gets married, and he learns to play a flute. Then he wakes up and he's back on the Enterprise.
This was an amazing find because this is a spacesuit. We talked about the EV suits and stuff. This was a spacesuit that was used by D. Kelly. In fact, we have behind here is a tag that says Kelly, or it's written Kelly right here. You can see that? This was used on an episode called The Tholian Web. And here's the helmet that went on top. So this was actually used by a cast member. So we think it's really cool. We were very excited.